Welcome back to my episode reviews of the original Rescue Bots cartoon. Today, we're taking a look at the episode Tip of the Iceberg. In this episode, the team investigates a strange iceberg off the coast of Griffin Rock, which, it turns out, they have some history with. We begin this episode with Chase, Chief Burns, and Cody on the ferry investigating a report of a sea monster that has been spotted circling the boat. They nearly pull a Titanic,
Iceberg, right ahead!
But luckily Chase saves them from the unusual iceberg. But we briefly see a familiar looking silhouette on it. Cody, Danny, and Blades go back to check out the iceberg, and they discover that the iceberg is not an actual iceberg at all.
Cody didn't really just push that.
Blades, are you okay? Say something!
No more pushing random buttons.
But is in fact a long-lost ship that was once captained by Cody's great-grandfather. They find that the ship is covered in ice due to an experimental device on board, which they are unable to turn off. So the team decides to destroy the ship along with everything on it. While doing so, Heatwave uses his Power Up and Energize tool, which turns out to be a flamethrower, which he uses to melt the ice. And is it just me, or is it pretty ironic that a firefighter has a flamethrower? They place the bombs, which seem to be the same kind that they used in a previous episode, but just as they're moving back to a safe distance, they spot what appears to be a very large fish approaching the frozen ship. Heatwave and Blades heroically dispose of the bombs, but they soon find that the big fish is actually a new shark sub piloted by Dr. Morocco.
Chief Burns, you and your ham-fisted robots are trespassing.
Dr. Morocco!
You have a lot of nerve showing up here, Morocco. There's still a warrant out for your arrest.
Pish posh. The mayor and I patched things up as soon as I returned his missing schooner.
If Dr. Morocco sounds different here, that is because he has been recast. Sadly, Tim Curry suffered a minor stroke in 2012, which hindered his acting ability, and thus Morocco was recast. Now played by Johnny Rees in this season onward. He does a fine job, but he's definitely no Tim Curry. Due to naval salvage laws, Dr. Morocco has claimed ownership of the Isolda, and unfortunately, there is nothing that the Burns family can do about it. However, the ice machine is discovered to be unstable, and while trying to rescue Morocco and those in the surrounding area, the device overloads, flash freezing everyone and everything within range, which traps the Rescue Bots partners inside their frozen vehicle modes. And here we can see a good example of them using 3D models in this show. You can't do that with 2D sprites. Well, you could, but it would take a lot of keyframes. With even Danny's pink de-icer spray proving ineffective against the ice, it's up to Cody to rescue the Rescue Bots and his family. And we see him riding on the Turbo Cycle, which we previously saw in the episode 4 Bots and a Baby. Although, as Cody is defrosting the Rescue Bots, a group of people on the ferry, led by the same daredevil driver that we've seen in previous episodes, decides to drive on the ice towards the shore, which is a very bad idea. I mean, they don't even know how thick the ice is. As a Canadian, you always hear stories on the news about people falling through the ice on their skidoos and stuff like that because it was too thin. I'm surprised these motorists thought the ice could support their cars, seeing how it only just now froze over, let alone reach the shore. So, as predicted, the drivers end up in trouble, but the Rescue Bots heroically save them and bring them to safety. But while they're saving the civilians, the Burns family are in danger as their boat is struck by falling ice and begins to sink. But they are saved by the most unlikely of rescuers, Dr. Morocco.
Didn't see that coming.
Neither did I, Danny. Neither did I.
Still, I never would have guessed that man had a grateful bone in his body.
A grateful bone? Where exactly on a human is that located?
Probably next to the funny bone we've heard about.
Oh, a wise guy, huh?
And we end this episode with another surprise from Dr. Morocco, as he also gifts the Byrne family the portrait of their great-grandfather. This was a great episode of Rescue Bots. I like that Dr. Morocco is back. although I'm a little sad that Tim Curry won't be returning. And I find it interesting that the Isolde was captained by Cody's great-grandfather. I'm sure we'll learn more about the Burns family's ancestors in the future. And I wonder if Dr. Morocco had anything to do with the ship's freezing in the first place. What about you? What did you think of this episode of the original RescueBot series? As always, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Remember to like, subscribe, and do all that other fun stuff. And I'll see you back here next week for the next episode of RescueBots, A Virtual Disaster. So I'll see you here next week for that.